sitting in.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Weekly DLC. We're three old timers. I'm one of your hosts, Karosh, joined always by my co-host, Yanni.
Let's see if I can do this whistle. I can't do it. I'm trying to like have it so that I have a whistle at the end. I can't have it.
And Laurel.
You like popsicles?
Daniel and Daniel, welcome, guys. If you're not familiar with what we do, we fuck around for a little bit, and we come to you guys every week on your podcasting service of your choice, every Monday. And we sit around this table. We have some fun discussions. We each bring a topic usually.
Yep.
And then we chill. And yeah, that's the rigmarole. I'm trying to. I don't know for what reason. Like every time it's like you mentioned it once, you're like it's awkward every time, and I feel like that's our mantra. It's awkward every time.
The Weekly DLC, awkward every time. Perfect.
That's it. It sells itself. Does it? How have you guys been?
Good. I'm trying to think of what I did this week. I didn't do anything special.
That's like my favorite part of the podcast. The topic is like the hardest to think of, but the thinking of
my life is boring as shit. I work, get off of work, go home, lay in bed. Like that's it. Like, and then the next day, rinse and repeat.
You don't
live,
play
die,
games.
repeat.
You don't watch movies.
Live, die, repeat. See, but that
culture yourself, which I know you do. I'm asking.
I experience video games, but I don't. I don't know. Like I just don't.
You don't get no satisfaction.
I get no satisfaction.
So
I mean, what did I? So
last week, let's go back to last week. You platinum God of War.
Yes. That's
yes.
I haven't done anything else.
All right, see you guys next week. Awkward every time.
I haven't done anything else this week. I mean, I started dabbling into Destiny, but I've pretty much stopped already.
Really?
Yeah, I played like one day and that was it. I think the reason why is I wanted to start on my wizard, then I realized that I've done every single thing there is to do story mode wise on my hunter. So you go log on that dude and there's no notifications for anything. So I was like, I want to get to that point again on my hunter, but I apparently haven't touched my hunter in forever. So he's level 20. I've got to get to level 30. Got to finish everything in the story. Got to finish. I was like, this is a lot, and I don't want to play this game.
You were just like.
And I had already done like a lot on my wizard. I finished both the expansion 1 and expansion 2 stories, and I did a lot.
Did you do the raid?
I mean, no, then I didn't do that much. I haven't even touched the strikes either.
So
but I had already done so much, and I have to redo all that on my hunter, and I was like, I don't want to do that. And so I just went back to Fortnite.
Okay, so see, we digging, and there's more that you've done. So what?
So you've been playing Fortnite?
Yes. But I suck. Like
it doesn't matter if you suck.
I don't even want to stream it. I don't even like. It's so bad.
We're past that bridge.
It's just I'm trash.
You built the bridge, and then someone shot it, and now
I'm falling. Broken my legs. Fortnite.
You're playing Fortnite for some reason. Tell us that.
I literally have nothing else to play. That's why I'm playing Fortnite.
Dailies.
Nothing else to play.
I mean, that's the thing. I have other games to play. I don't want to say this because now people think I'm a bad person.
You're not a bad person.
I've got
you're
like
a human being.
I have.
We're humans. We're not gods.
Barely
here, like
dabbled.
You know, some kids like listening to he plays Fortnite. Yes.
I've barely.
I want to be like Vargas when I grow up, or Yanni.
Have all the games and not play them. I haven't touched Mario Odyssey.
Okay.
I haven't touched. I've barely dabbled into Assassin's Creed, the brand new one, the Egyptian Origins.
What about movies?
I picked up what's the Yakuza?
Oh yeah, the new
but the Kawaii, it's a previous one.
Hawaii 5-0.
I picked up that one. I haven't even. It's still sealed.
Okay.
It's another knack.
Knack 2.
It's another knack. You know.
Never another knack.
What did you say? I bought the Humble Bundle for Mega Man. Downloaded. Not even that
Just
logo's not even gone over.
So you're telling us you're the collector?
I am
Benicio del Toro.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
So how did Daniel steal the gems from you?
Yeah, I just these are things I don't want to talk about. It makes me a horrible person.
This is a topic. Let's change every topic today.
Change topic.
We'll get to that later.
How much of a collector are you? No, but
the collecting is a game. What about other mediums? What about
I don't watch TV.
You do watch TV.
I mean, I do occasionally.
You could be watching Stranger Things, motherfucker.
That's the thing. I could be watching. I just don't generally.
Okay, good point. Good point. It's like paralysis.
Yeah, like
what do you think would finish it first?
Between you two?
Yeah.
Me.
I think so.
Twice.
Thinking about it now,
1 and 2.
thinking about it now, I think this is why I play things so fast. Is I have to put a lot of effort into it. Like I know that I'm going to put
But
a
when
lot
you
of effort
do,
into
it's
it.
just like
Exactly. It's like streamlined. So if I watch a show, it's like I'm gonna watch the whole season right now. Like
What about Westworld?
I haven't seen the second one. I didn't binge the first one.
But you watch.
But I waited until it was like further in.
Okay.
Literally watched it all in one day, and I was like, "Fuck! I gotta wait 3 more weeks for this shit to
I'm gonna
finish."
find something. You got a new shirt? Let's talk about that.
Someone got a shirt, didn't fit them. They gave it to me.
No, it fit.
Oh, it fit them, but
I
they
just
don't
thought you'd
use
like
that.
because I.
They don't use
you
that.
like
No,
women.
I do like it.
Wow.
But
Wow.
you're trying to get me to talk about things, and
Wow.
I'm telling you, I don't talk about things. That's the thing. I
This
don't
is a
know why.
podcast about
Why am I in a podcast? I don't understand. Why am I making a second
he's in
podcast and
two.
cheating on you
No,
guys?
two
I don't know why.
There's a meetup this Saturday. Where's the podcast guy?
No, I haven't done much this week.
Is there anything you hope to do?
Deadpool?
I guess. I get. The thing is though is, it's not on my like. I need to do it this week.
Okay.
It's like sometime
Yeah.
before it's out of theaters. I need to watch it. That's
Okay.
it, you know. So no enthusiasm there. Same thing for Han Solo, just
Yeah.
Solo, I guess.
Yeah.
No enthusiasm. Don't.
I feel
really
like
watch
Movie
it.
Pass saved Solo for me. Had I not had Movie Pass, Solo would have been a maybe.
They came out with an offer for inviting friends. They get a free month if you give them the link.
Do you guys have Movie Pass?
If you want it.
You
If
got
you
it?
want it.
Do you want another Movie Pass?
We'll give it to each other.
Yeah.
Give
I
it
got
to
2
me.
movies now.
That's true. If you could like different account and you watch 2 movies at the same day, because they changed it. You cannot watch the same movie anymore with Movie Pass. Like if you went to watch Avengers using Movie Pass,
And then you want to see it
you can
another
no
day?
longer watch it again.
What the fuck?
That's what I read. I don't know if this is a reality or if someone was just trolling.
Game over, cancel it. Not
Done.
worth it.
Easy.
You're losing money.
I was reading an article. It's about MoviePass. They're losing money.
Yeah,
But
I know.
the thing is, like,
Use your fucking pass.
no, the
before
thing
it
is,
goes-
like, they don't know. Like, a lot of companies are doing stuff like that
yeah.
where it's always a loss.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a point in time where they have to turn a profit, and they don't know what they're going to do to turn that profit.
Yeah.
That was the
As
article.
of right now.
I'm worried what's going to happen to movie theaters when Movie Pass isn't an option. People have gotten used to it.
That's
Yeah,
another
'cause
topic.
I do
Switch
feel
it up.
I
Let's
do
do
feel
this.
gypped when I went to watch one of the Studio Ghibli movies. It's part of an event, and they literally charge. I don't know if they do that on purpose, but they charge more than what MoviePass covers,
Okay.
and therefore you can't use it
Yeah,
supposedly. But I fucking use this shit, and it
You're a fucking
approved.
wizard,
God
bro.
damn it! But I had to pay cash. Not cash. I had to pay like regular money, I guess.
Real money.
After already paying $5
we
a
don't take-
month.
Not Monopoly money.
We don't take your Republican credits.
Had to pay with Zimbabwean $1 million bills, you know. But yeah, Movie Pass.
Okay. Movie Pass.
I don't even know where
Jake, what? Jake, what about you? What are you up to?
Yeah. No, I was kidding.
It's gonna be a long one today.
he has a lot to talk about.
Do I?
You
yeah.
have a lot to talk about.
I'll
You-
remind you if you don't bring it up.
Okay, I've been streaming Fortnite with co-streamers,
Oh.
streamers that are way better than me.
Yeah, like me.
I streamed with there's an actor that I met at TwitchCon.
Yeah.
You know who he is. He's in CW's Black Lightning.
He's
Really?
that dude.
So I've actually dude, I didn't know. I looked at his IMDb. This guy's been a child actor since little. So he's been in a lot of Nickelodeon
so he's done
shows.
drugs, is what you're telling me.
Maybe.
Macaulay Culkin.
Oh
Next
shit!
stop.
What if he listens? No, he hasn't.
No, we're fucking
Okay.
around, dude.
But
We joke around here. It's awkward always.
I've been streaming. Good chunk of November 22nd, 63 done. I think I'm gonna finish it this weekend. Finally, it's fucking 850 pages, dude.
Damn.
So I'm finally gonna finish, and it's getting good. I don't know how he's gonna end it, but
Are you gonna do a video for it?
I want to make a video. I bought the Blu-ray, so there is a TV show I'm gonna be watching, the miniseries.
Before?
Yeah, so
Stranger
I'm gonna do a
Things.
review, like comparing it.
Okay.
What
You
else?
still doing the video stuff?
Attach, Stranger Things to that. Yeah.
And you said I did a lot of things. I didn't do a lot.
Yeah,
No. You like in the car we were talking about Fortnite, and you were
yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Oh, I want to bring this up in the podcast. I'm gonna save it." See?
I forgot.
See?
Oh shit!
See?
Wait. Oh, it's just minor gripes with Fortnite, like
Shooting. Aims.
aiming. I don't know the whole physics of it.
It's a young man's game.
Higher level.
It's a young man's game.
I heard you say that on your stream.
I'm 76 years old. No, but
the sound in the game.
the sound in the game sucks. No, that game is it's battle royale. This is another topic in its own. It's fucking
Switching it up, baby.
It's unfair.
You'll understand. You'll understand.
It's
Stick with
unfair.
us.
It only that game will always favor the people who are good at it because, like, for example, like Street Fighter, right? If you play against someone's good, I mean, obviously he's gonna beat you, but your special bar fills up once you're getting beaten. This game, if you get beat, you gain from killing people, and if you're not good at killing people, there's no
Gain.
there's nothing that'll balance it.
Yeah.
Like, so if I was to fight against Ninja, there's nothing for me to like a balance mechanic. In Street Fighter, there's a balance mechanic. My
It's
special,
like,
my super
Like
meter
if,
builds
if
up.
he gets beat up, he gets.
My super meter
Yeah.
builds up, and I can even the health bar or maybe kill him. But in a battle royale game, only the best will win. The 1% will win, and they will always win. That's my gripe with Fortnite
wait.
or
Only
battle royale.
one person will win.
If you're good at the game, you will win, and it doesn't favor people who are not good at the game. So you just got to get good. I mean, that's pretty much it. Like
Okay.
Street Fighter, like it balances out because if you're getting beat, your super meter that's the
feels
gaming
higher than
your
the guy who's
your
beating
super meter
you.
can actually go all the way up to
Okay.
full, but that's like a balancing mechanic for. I mean, you might lose
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Daigo, but I mean, at least you get a super meter. And
This is a
in
parry
a battle royale, if you're not good, there is no balancing mechanic. Like it should.
I feel like the part that differentiates, and this goes hand in hand with experience. Like, take the experience out of it. Like, both two players drop into a zone. The beginning of the game is the even ground,
Right.
and that is up in the air of how you play, and your experience dictates how well you situate yourself at the beginning.
It's not really even though if you're
Why?
playing against a ninja because he will
Well, how many hours has he put into the game?
That's true. That's
That-
true. That's
I
true.
feel like that's where the experience part of a game comes in, where it's the gap of skill changes. But with such a large player pool, it's still up in the air. Like, you two could be uneven, but then a random factor comes in and takes out Ninja from like a third party, right?
You were talking about what's that streamer? The one who won against Ninja who still
Cypher,
lost.
PK?
Cypher was talking about shoot, I don't remember what he was talking about. Shit, I literally had it because you talked about it and it's
balance, even building.
Random factor,
No, I forgot.
differentiate,
Shit.
skill,
I feel like
even at the beginning.
if you're at a
Words.
It's not gonna come out
if you're
anymore.
at a disadvantage or if you're not like highly skilled, the chance of getting a better weapon should be higher than like someone really skilled.
That's
That's
hard
a
to say though.
handicap.
That's a random.
Right.
That's randomness.
That's true.
That's
but-
hard to do. You can't just be like.
But
think-
even if I had
I
a
know
gold
this
weapon or
I
whatever,
think it
Ninja would-
becomes abundantly highlighted with a battle royale style game versus other games because there's so much, like, it's literally just you
Mhm.
or a squad, whichever the case is.
It wasn't Cypher. You were talking about Joe Rogan, how he was saying, like, for people to be pro level, like, it takes a certain amount of genius or like
Mhm.
intelligence to be able to be such a good player to
Mhm.
make these decisions that you're doing at the time. I don't even know where I was gonna go with that. I don't even know where I was gonna go with that.
That's
it's
like
like,
a-
you know those Twitter where it shows the dust?
Yeah.
It's like there should be a picture of you or the new Captain America one. Like, so you had a topic you were going to talk about.
I could do this all day.
That's just my gripe with battle royale.
Are you? Is it mostly frustrating because you're trying to get better at it, or you have a goal with it, or you just
there's
streaming it?
problems with the game.
'Cause you've
Like
been
I'm
playing
like
it
I
for a
feel
while.
like Dr. Disrespect. Like
No.
oh my god, what's up with the sound, man?
What's funny, the way I see it in my perspective from you to you is you want to play the game,
Mhm.
but you're finding reasons not to play it because you want to be a variety streamer. So you're like,
Right,
I'm
right.
trying to make this game as bad as possible for myself. So it's like
To
it
top-
sucks. You can't be good at it. Your two people are too good already, and you're like, I just want to play it.
I just don't. You know what it is? I don't understand the physics of it,
Yeah.
and that's what's kind of bothering me. Because usually when you play a game for a long time, you kind of understand the physics.
and it's still not.
I
clicking.
think I know what the physics is. I think higher ground means higher chance of
it
hit.
still hasn't clicked. Like you
But
know
I
that,
don't
but
get,
it hasn't.
no, but I
worked
don't
for
get
you.
it. I don't get higher ground.
You gotta
a
get
lot.
it. Hey, you know what? Battle pass. Just get the battle pass. Dude.
All right, let's go. Problem solved. Let's go. So I was supposed to stream Breath of the Wild again. I was gonna
Really?
replay, but then I stopped. I opened it, installed it, bought the fucking $20 expansion, and I was like, all right,
And the battle pass for
we're
it.
gonna start streaming this. And then people were like, are you gonna play Fortnite? I was like,
The battle pass would have been cheaper, dude. So what game do you plan on streaming? Huh?
I don't know. Man.
Do you want to say it, or do you want to
Do
stop?
you want us
going,
to say for you?
Do you want to stop like?
I want to play Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes. It's the demo, whatever it is.
The easiest.
Oh
game?
yeah,
The
the
demo.
prelude or whatever.
Yeah, I don't want to get into Phantom Pain because that will
That's
take
in-
me a long. That would take me 2 months.
Just play
What
it. but
about
don't
that
play
other
it.
game you kind of started but haven't played
Celeste.
anymore? That's like right in the front there. There's like gods.
I was telling him I have no interest in playing it. I'm just-
Really?
No interest. Maybe because I haven't gotten to that first fight.
You have gotten to the first.
Well, first boss, but first side boss.
Those? You think that's what will get him into it?
I think so. Like that
Yeah.
to me, those are the bosses that should have been regular boss. Like the bosses should have been those type of fights for me. I love them. I love.
No, they're
those
fun.
fights.
I don't think they should have replaced what I beat the game finally. Story.
You think everything was fine?
I think it was fantastic.
I think you're a C actor. That's what I
A
think.
what?
A C actor,
What's a C act?
like a B actor.
Oh, I thought you meant like a
You're
C, like
no,
the,
I'm
in the
downgrading
ocean.
it to a D actor.
Like
Gary Coleman, dude.
hell yeah, Gary Coleman, you and me. Let's make a movie. We'll call it the Weekly DLC.
Corey Feldman.
The awkward story.
Corey Feldman.
Hey, he's making a comeback.
Lost Boys 2.
He was in Teenage Mutant TMNT.
Oh.
I don't even. Wait,
Is he a
the
voice
new
actor?
one.
Yeah. He was one of the
Oh.
voices.
That's not acting. That's voice acting.
Wow.
Oh,
That's a voice. I mean, it's still an actor, but it's a voice act.
Wow. Oh, so
From someone who was
you know
Stranger
that's
Things season 2.
that's in Fortnite. Did you know that's in Fortnite?
Wow.
The ducks.
Oh, wait, the ducks.
Wow. So there's these
Oh,
mini games
so
where you
I
have to
was like-
find ducks, rubber duckies. Wow. When you find one. Wow.
Oh, I was making fun of Owen Wilson.
Yeah, I know.
Okay,
That's- He's in the
okay.
game.
Okay. It all comes full
It's a
circle.
very similar sound, but
Then yeah, I want to talk about this game, but you're not
Should
going
I-
to play it?
No, I'll play. I just don't have.
are you
I have
okay
no
with
desire.
us?
I have no interest in
Are
playing.
you
this.
okay with us spoiling it?
No. Well,
Wait, you're not okay, or you are
Wait.
okay?
I want consent. This feels like
So
No.
say don't spoil or
Don't
spoil.
spoil.
Okay.
okay.
I just want to make it 100%.
I'm trying to think of what I can say about it then.
or I could just close my eyes.
No,
because of the-
this is-
Close my eyes.
No, you're
Wow.
fine.
Wow. Wow.
I don't know. I'm not gonna spoil.
and then spoil.
This game has. I didn't have this feeling. I don't have any sort of deep love or passion for Greek mythology. This game has gotten me so enthralled with Norse mythology. Through playing it, like as I'm playing it, I'm experiencing how its interpretation of it is, and after I'm like, I need to like read Thor comics. I need to like.
I just.
I need to watch. I need to read that Norse mythology
Not-
from Neil Gaiman.
Not knowing too much of the game, I know you fight Thor. I'm pretty sure, and I know you go to Valhalla. I mean, it's obvious if they're gonna put that in there. Why don't? If it's
I
Norse
think-
mythology,
I
why
think
don't
you
just-
gotta play this
I know.
game, and we can talk.
It's
like,
funny how-
in depth.
I feel like he's
wanna,
done this
like,
so many
scream.
times. He's like assumed so much, like even for
It just
for
makes sense.
like the
though.
Avengers.
Does it?
He
I
was
mean,
just assuming.
If I were to
shit.
write the game, I would have to put Thor in. I would have to put Valhalla in.
You should play the game, and you'll.
But the only way to go to Valhalla is you die.
no, the only way to go to Valhalla is to hit G rank.
Mm.
Because when you get to Devil Joe in this game,
Mm.
I was gonna say Devil Joe's a monster. in
He's
this
a
new
dick.
One. Holy shit!
Mm.
I didn't have trouble the first time I fought him, and I just cannot touch him anymore. Like he's just wrecked me. I've not been.
if I'm in a group with new
good players,
players, if I'm in a group with new players, I'm like, double cart, game over. I'm like, why did it just join me to this game? This is bullshit. But yes, if you guys are interested, whenever you do, I don't care if it's a year from now or 2, if you beat this God of War, I want to do a spoiler cast.
All right, I'll play
after
God
that.
of War. Oh, that's
Whatever. There's no pressure. Put it behind Stranger Things season 2. I don't care.
So never.
So, I mean, did you have anything else?
No.
So, God of War.
Mm-hmm.
I could not stop. So Friday, I think I played the last of Monster Hunter I wanted to play for a little bit. Like I got through some. I made some armors that I wanted to make. Like I was like, I want to make some mix sets. But the thing that with this game, the thing that this game is irritating me with, and it's just part of the grind. I understand that. It's just I don't know if maybe it's just my patience with this part of the grind. It comes down now for me to get gem farming or decoration farming, I should say. Like I have these sets, but a lot of the recommended sets are like get 2 crit jewels, 2 get an attack boost jewel. Like I'll have a pretty good armor set without that, but I feel like seeing.
I thought you were talking about God of War this whole time. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Because we went straight from him talking about God of War to you're like, the thing about this game.
I said I played Monster Hunter for the end of it.
I didn't hear that.
Wow. Wow.
And then you're like, I was like, what? Like, what?
I will say this. After playing God of War, let's transition now to God of War. I played like Saturday till 2 a.m. I played Sunday till... I played Saturday till 4 a.m., Sunday till 2 a.m., and then I played another 2 days where I accidentally stayed up till like 1 or 2 a.m.
Accidentally.
Like there was parts of like, all right, this is a good... I'll stop after this next... I just got to find this thing. And then I do it. I'm like, okay, let me just... I got to just this next... And then next thing I know, I'm like, I need to sleep. This is going to suck tomorrow. Anyway, but tying it to Monster Hunter, there are some elements in this game that I'm like, that would be so cool in Monster Hunter. Like, if the story mode of Monster Hunter looked the way this did, I know it's not known for its story, but that would be like a good next step for Monster Hunter games for me. Anyway, so I played God of War, beat the story. Now I'm just doing like platinum stuff like how you were a week ago. And I'm enjoying it. Like I'm not like rushing through it, but it's definitely what I want to do before I jump into Destiny. Destiny 2, I want to like at least get a taste of. Yeah. But I'm like, they're constantly updating this game and fixing shit. So I'm like, I feel like if anything, I'll be rewarded for waiting a little bit. Like I'll be fine if I go in now, or
I'll have extra.
There'll be more things. It's like, oh, by the way, we fixed this. I'm like, oh, cool, thanks. So played that. I've been reading Thor comics. Jason Aaron, I've never realized like how many Thor books he's written. Mm-hmm. But in general, like I love his stuff. Like Scalped is one of my favorite. Southern Bastards is one I'm starting to read. But like I've just engrossed myself. Like I've been reading comics more, and B, I was like, this God of War stuff has got me into like Norse mythology. So I was like, closest thing with comics was Thor, and he's a great writer. And so I was like, I'm gonna start reading this. And it's on the back, it's like that. And fans can't see it, but it's like the front is the girl, Thor.
That's a cool story.
And I just figured out who she was. Like the reveal happened. It was pretty cool. But anyway,
Lois Lane.
Yeah. Don't tell anyone though, because
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I want to start reading that Neil Gaiman book.
You haven't started reading it? I mean,
no, it's just been placed in there.
Chunk in there.
Yeah,
you're like
that's fake.
You're like a pinch, just a pinch of salt.
And then I want to start watching Vikings, and I got Katie. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna binge through this, and then I was like, oh, this will be cool. Katie and I can watch it. Katie, do you want to watch this? She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. And then I realized that means that now we have to watch it like one a night or something. I'm like, okay, I gotta go slower now.
Katie, can you not want to watch this anymore?
No, I'm happy. I'm happy because we haven't had a show for a while. Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Gotta get the right
so
sunglasses.
There's that, and there was some cool news, Monster Hunter, this week about a movie. I kind of want to talk about before we go to the podcast.
Adding a whole nother goddamn section.
Why not? Yeah, we're here laughing, having fun, talking, being awkward.
So Mila
Jovovich,
that's right. The star of Resident Evil movies will be starring in the Monster Hunter movie.
Directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, who did the first few Resident Evil.
Wait, so if you remove the Paul part, Wes Anderson is what you're telling me right now.
I wish.
Paul W.S. Anderson? Is that what it is? I don't know. It's the guy that did the first few Resident Evil movies and her on board.
I know, right?
So, what are your thoughts?
Already,
I'd rather have you bowl directed.
everything I had, all these thoughts I had, just I'm gonna throw them away. Just
Really?
don't even, like,
I see a silver lining, regardless of the quality. If they get as many Monster Hunter movies as we got Resident Evil movies,
Oh,
I am gonna be happy just because it's in the it's in the ether of the pop culture.
I don't know. I read the synopsis. I didn't
Yeah,
Of like what, like a present day.
yeah. The way the synopsis works, it's just like it just seems so cheesy. It's like those sci-fi like it's not.
It's gonna be so bad.
Because they're gonna try to
But
make it
so
like a
good.
AAA movie, and it's just not gonna work. You have to. It has to be self-aware and play off of this. You know, like that's when it becomes good, and it's not gonna be
World
self-aware.
building.
It's
Let's
not gonna
go.
be world building. I think it's gonna be like
Monster building.
No, not even that. Like it'll be. This movie will be to the Monster Hunter series as Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite was to the Marvel vs. Capcom game series. Like,
Which is bad.
yeah, like kind of tacked together, like lower quality.
Since we're talking about this, I'm gonna bring up the people that I wanted in the movie.
Who would you want in there just to make it worthwhile? Dwayne the Rock Johnson as Rajang.
So as the commander, I'm assuming it's gonna be like World. Like it's
Okay,
gonna have
you're
the same
basing it
actors.
off the synopsis of World.
So commander
Mm-hmm.
Dave Bautista
Okay.
as commander, and he's gonna have like obviously gonna put a wig on him, and they're gonna have.
Yeah.
A nice
He's the
special-
one at the start.
Yeah, he's the.
I would have Batista as the later one. The fifth, the one that shows up like once you're in later.
He's white haired, the
Like-
older guy.
Yeah, well, there's a short-haired, white-haired one, and there's one with like Rajang like hair, who comes in. He's like super buff.
Oh, I see. You're saying.
I would
you're
have
right.
Batista as that guy, but I like your choice.
Okay. As the handler, I was trying to think of someone young, someone who could be very enthusiastic. I can only think of Anna
Rob
Kendrick.
Schneider.
Anna
Oh,
Kendrick.
we said the same thing.
Danny DeVito.
And then the only other guy,
Danny. Come on.
Hey, I heard you want some Devil Joe.
and like
The gang kills Devil Joe.
and the bee costume.
Oh my god.
And then
he's the fairy thing that finds all the stuff. He's like, hey, I think the Rathalos is over here.
and then the field team leader. This is the young kid who like
Okay.
is very enthusiastic as well. Tom Holland.
Mm.
Oh,
That's who I could see.
okay.
They just got to make him a little bit taller, probably, but because I think the guy's pretty tall compared to the other people there. But those are the three. I was like, these guys. I feel like
What about the Palico? Who voices him?
that is gonna be
Aziz.
Vin Diesel.
Oh, okay. Meow. Meow. As the chef?
Yeah, he can be the chef guy.
I'll go next.
Sure.
Mine is
This
not-
isn't a topic, by the way. We're
Mine's
just
No, it's a topic. It's a
okay.
fifth
We're
topic,
doing
or fourth topic.
Fourth topic. Yeah. Bonus.
Yeah.
mine
to this.
it's really short.
Okay.
Ironbeard McCullough. Let's bring him back.
Who?
Ironbeard McCullough.
McCullough.
I don't know.
Remember he was Monster Hunter Tries.
Oh, the cast. I thought you were talking about an actor name. I was like,
No.
who's? Okay, got you. That's okay.
And Palico, Jeff Goldblum. Yeah. That's it. Those two.
Okay. Okay. Do you guys have like how the story would go, or just mostly the casting?
So
Like if you had a dream vision for like this to be like a Lord of the Rings movie, or like a
So obviously we have the synopsis, so we have to like
throw that out the window.
No,
Be
we
like-
can't. We can't like
be like
that's-
someone with
that's
common
already-
sense comes in.
No, I like it needs to be concrete. Like this is how it's gonna happen, and we have to follow that
The
story.
cat has to like do like he has to like kind of like she's working at her job and the cat's she's like seeing things like what the fuck. She follows the cat.
I like that.
like
Alison
like
Rabbit- Alice in Wonderland
like
rabbit hole
Garfield.
status.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Right.
You're gonna get a human, and then you're gonna get palicos that are like fucking cartoony.
And
the
or
monsters
she gotta
has
be
a,
that.
she has a
cartoony.
cat, and the cat is an actual Palico, and she's like starts talking to
He's
him.
been like a caretaker the whole time.
Right. She's the chosen one.
So she's dodging bullets.
Boom!
I knew
It's
it.
fine. It's fine. It's fine.
I knew it.
Yahtzee.
I was
It's
like,
not
what the
gonna
fuck?
sit up.
It's
That
not
comic
gonna
is
sit.
slippery as fuck.
Yeah, just put it down. It's gonna fall again.
Fucking Kratos has
It's
to go
gonna
fuck
fall
shit up.
again. Cheater.
It's fine. It's good. It's good. We're good. Our set is dynamic. We have
Changing.
collapsible,
Constantly
graphics.
changing.
Okay, so
Giant ass walls.
Hey,
people might find out how old you are.
Danny
76.
DeVito's
So you're
age.
saying?
No, well, I
Cat?
wasn't. He was just
Caretaker?
saying the. Oh, I forgot my idea already. He said something and it's gone. It's gone long ago. But yeah, the cat's the caretaker.
Okay. All I know is I like a lot of these ideas, but I would want the like whatever the once the movie is in its third act,
Mhm.
I want a group of 4 to be on the hunt
Mm.
for the main monster that's like somehow gotten loose.
And I'm gonna assume you have the other 3 actors you want.
I don't have the actors quite, and we could talk it out real quickly, but I have the type of character they'd be.
Okay.
There'd be a hunting horn, and he'd be the goofball, but and and he'd have like a badass moment. He's like, "Yeah, I really did finally have a time to shine."
Keith, you are now in Karoshi's Monster Hunter movie.
I got you, bro. I would have a bowgun user, and it'd be John Wick.
Oh
Ooh.
shit! Shotgun to the face.
So Keanu Reeves.
He's got like bowguns all over the jungle, and he's just like,
Dropster just runs to the next one. Just like,
Keanu Reeves.
Flare gun.
Keanu Reeves is casted.
yeah. The bowgun user could be Jack Black. He'd be like, and then like his palico would be the guy with him in Tenacious D.
oh, what's his name? Kyle.
Kyle, yeah, Kyle
Kyle.
would be. He'd be like, Kyle, get over here, I need help. He gives him like a potion. And then we have Mila Jovovich, who would either be
A great sword user.
a great sword
Yeah.
user,
I think that's what they're gonna make
Yeah, it
her.
has to be.
because that's that
That's
that jaw blade, or the Rothalos blade. I think those are 2 iconic blades.
And she's going to sport the Rathalos armor.
I could see her though going with old school sword and shield, because that's also quite iconic and versatile.
I feel like you literally just called it. I think she's gonna start out with the bone blade, the jaw blade, and then she'll end up killing a larger monster, and it'll
like
be
a cuckoo.
and it'll be and then she'll have a Rathalos out all of a sudden.
And right before she does the killing blow to end and save everyone, a fucking Rhinopolis comes in, just fuck you.
See, so that's one thing I feel like they have to have is the humor that's in this game.
Yeah.
Just the small subtleties.
Like someone, like they could have what's his name, Zac Efron as a longsword user. He's like totally into himself, and he's just like
Like making her trip
fucking,
every
like,
time,
Jack
like,
Black's like, what the fuck, dude?
Stop! And he's like, get out of the way.
This is if you were to take the vibe of 2 movies, I would take Jurassic World,
Mhm.
where they go to an island. That's where this game
Yeah,
comes to
yeah.
foot, and Jumanji,
And
the new
Thor.
one,
the new Thor. Yeah,
Ragnarok. The humor of that.
exactly.
So, Takai Waititi doing a movie
Yeah.
of those 2 combined.
I agree.
Right.
Yeah, he should just direct it. Perfect.
Right.
Done. Easy. Done.
Then he can save it. He can save the film. I would have
Save
faith.
it before it's even. And what it starts with is what it ends with is they kill or defeat one monster. And
I read this already.
okay,
You-
no, that.
you wrote this already.
So this one was a joke, but it'd be funny. Like this would be.
It would- I would like
this
it,
would
yeah.
be leaning heavily into it, where
Yeah.
they're like, by the way, guys can finally you could use this. Like this is usable,
Yeah.
and you could make something really awesome and be more powerful. He's like, all right, great. How do we do that? He's like, you got to take out all of them, and it's like a flock or swarm.
They're
of
like
them.
like it's a bunch of like
Rothalos.
Power Ranger Zoids just running. Like,
They're like,
the
oh shit.
the lame ass animations.
The more dramatic action-packed version of that ending would be they defeat the one monster, and he's like, we did it, we saved. And then like if there was an antagonistic human
Mhm.
that set this in motion or whatever, it could be, but it doesn't have to be. But all of a sudden another monster would show up, like a more sinister looking one, and it's bigger and more bad, like let's say Rajang or Brachydios.
And that's the trailer for the new
Or no-
Monster Hunter World Monster.
Gormagala.
Gormagala or Zinogre. I could see Zinogre. They show up and they're just like, yeah, you thought that was tough. And then the group, it's like end of Mortal Kombat where Shao Kahn's like, puny humans.
And they're
And
like,
he's
let's do it.
I don't think so. And they,
Dun, 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 dun.
Mordok.
Ba-dum, ba-dum,
It could become like a cult hit. Like,
I would fucking
like-
love that. Shang Tsung is the handler.
your soul is mine.
He's not the handler. He's the villain, and he's summoning these monsters into the Earth realm
There you
for
go.
another round of Mortal Kombat.
Perfect.
Oh.
It's connection.
Game set match. All right. Anyway, you guys want to get into topics?
Let's do it.
We're still good on time. Like this is how long we normally take to talk about other
That's
shit.
funny.
I should also say one thing about God of War. I totally forgot to say. I have one gripe with this game. The amount of visuals on Kratos and Atreus compared to the other characters is so different. Like when I look at, there's like occasional
The Witch?
ghosts. Huh?
I'm thinking like the witch.
Her a little bit. A lot of these ghosts, there's like random ghosts that show up that give you side quests. They're literally they look like
Yeah.
from old Elder Scrolls games where it's like here's a generic polygon person.
I mean,
Where I feel like Witcher, like every character or even Horizon, like even just a mild amount of detail for a body would have been sufficient.
I see what you're saying. I didn't feel it. Didn't feel weird to me when I saw those spirits. I just thought like
it just
I don't
felt
know,
like
it just flowed well. Like visually, it flowed well for me. I don't know.
the game it was amazing, but
Mhm.
whenever it like stood there and I'm looking at this kind of ghost doing like generic motions like this, I was like, that looks janky, like 1990s. like compare, and then you see Kratos where he's just fully defined, the whiskers on his beard are just
I
like
know.
riffling. I'm like it's
Some
and the
some of their
girl-
storylines though are nice.
No,
I
the
like them.
stories are great. The girl looked glossy, whereas they looked like there was like an extra week was spent on him than. But then when they did like the big like cool moments with all this throughout the movie, the game, I was like, I didn't care or see the difference or anything, but that stood out in those like little moments.
Mhm.
Aaron, topics, Jay,
So I'm going to VidCon next month.
No way.
where is it?
Anaheim.
Oh, okay.
Wait, not San Jose.
No, that's TwitchCon. Dude, people are trying to get me to go to TwitchCon, especially Davier, the actor. And I don't know, man.
Just go.
Just
You
go.
guys should
Anyways,
duel it up.
there's meet and greets for people who are fans, community, and then I have a creator badge.
And this is at VidCon.
You have a creator badge.
Well,
Yeah.
you managed
So
to get
who's
one.
meeting you?
Nobody.
Mm.
I'm trying to meet Cole Marmalade, dude. Jesus.
Get that signature.
But so both of those badges have meet and greets. So I need a decision to make. Who should I meet? But I'm gonna make it open towards like who would you meet out of everyone from YouTube? Not everyone at YouTube is coming, but
So you have a real dilemma of who do you want to meet?
yes,
And you're opening up that dilemma to us, but anybody.
right. I have my choices.
Okay.
How
And I have
many
mine.
are we doing? A set amount or just
We could do 3.
Just one?
Okay.
Cool.
Oh, one.
I only got one.
meet them 3 times?
Well,
and each
I
time-
think I have a feeling I know each one of yours.
mine.
Yes,
Oh, you're pointing at me.
each one of yours.
Okay.
I want to hear what you think.
Casey Neistat. No?
Dang. I guess since
He's
I'm
not
doing-
number 1.
Yeah, he
Okay.
wasn't my number one, but since we're doing 3, he is on my top 3.
Okay.
So you're right. Yes.
Maybe I'd have to think about what I'd want to actually do if I saw him, because I feel like he'd be recording me the whole time. Like, can you?
Let's
can
go
we-
around right now. Let's
Okay.
start. Let's start with you.
Casey Neistat.
Okay.
That's my third.
I would say that's my 3rd as well.
What like? Is there anything in particular that you'd want to like meet? Like,
It
ask. him or
sounds
talk to
so
him?
fucking selfish. I just want a video, like him in my video.
Okay.
That could like
Yeah.
just boost. That sounds.
I mean, it's
so
a cool
selfish.
moment.
You just do like a regular video where like, hey guys, I'm just over here with my friend Casey Neistat.
Or maybe like I'll show him a video and he can tell me tips. His advice.
If I met him, the one thing I'd want him to say is like, Casey, can you say it? And he'd be like, I'll DLC you later. Like, just to hear him say it on like a video,
and then you're gonna be like, can you send this release form? And I can always just use this.
I want to use this and be like, next time on weekly DLC,
on weekly DLC.
we'll DLC you later.
Collab with 368. Mine's also Casey. Number 3 is Casey Neistat.
Mm.
I would meet him because he's a very positive guy. He tries to like stay away from being a negative person. As for questions, I haven't thought this one through, so I don't know what.
Would you want to
ask
have
him.
lunch with him, or just chat with him, or have ask him questions that you would think about later? Like, what sort of experience would you want that encounter to be? Just like, hey,
It's a meet and greet, so you're just saying hi.
you want to take a photo with him?
I'm not allowed to.
You could say something.
It's illegal.
It's like a. I think it's like a group of 12 people with one YouTuber, and you just.
Don't even have time. He's not even gonna look at me. He's gonna look at everyone else. The 11 other
You should
people.
watch his video about excuses.
I would.
Touche.
No, I would just talk to him. I would
Okay.
just like kind of
Checkmate.
at that moment. I might want to be able to like kind of scope his mind out. So I would ask him specific questions. As of right now, I can't think of those
Yeah,
questions.
yeah, okay.
But yeah, I'd just ask.
Cool.
Yeah.
There's no order for mine, but one of them would be Comic Book Girl 19.
Oh, okay.
Number one. Okay.
I wonder. Do you know if she's going there?
Maybe.
Oh, because she might be someone you want to meet.
Maybe.
If I see her,
I mean, yeah.
I'm
I
gonna,
mean,
if I see her, I'm gonna say, "Can you say we'll do this?"
that'd be
There you
fucking
go.
hilarious.
Easy.
No, she's in LA, so I could like she could go if she wants, but I've heard her on numerous occasions talk about how she doesn't see the energy of like putting to go to these outings, like either at Comic-Con or WonderCon or whatever, and she'd rather focus on doing her shtick, which is she's experimenting a variety of things, and I like that. I'm like, I don't always like what you put out, like in terms of this is entertaining or not, but I like that you're doing your thing. Like,
Yeah.
that I appreciate. Like she doesn't follow a lot of norms that I see. Like she's just like she did for a while. She got a big holding of like I'm going to talk about the history of Westeros or the history of X-Men and then did movie reviews, and now she's just trying weird shit and book clubs and all these different things. I'm like, that's really cool. And she has a similar temperament where like Katie and I will watch. And I'm like, I would just want to talk to her like about like, have you read this comic or like what's like she loves Grant Morrison, so I would want to and she's met him at his birthday party. I was like, holy fuck. So I'd want to like connect on that point and maybe a few other things.
Nice
Recommendations. She has cool like she talks about Isle of Dogs at one point.
Ooh.
And she talked about how it sort of passive aggressively hit on villains all having cats and connotating that cats are evil or cat owners are evil, and she's like talks about the lore and the history that cats play
Inspector Gadget.
and how cat dog.
Cats are evil.
Well, like she talks about like how
The association.
how they are and like the lore of them in mythology and in religion and all these things. I was like, whoa! Like you just totally went from a movie to like fucking.
I know that the Egyptians worshipped them
No, yeah, exactly, and that's what she'd mentioned that
because they were evil gods. No, I'm just kidding.
They were cute
Just
little
go
evil
right back.
gods.
Who's a cute evil god?
Yeah, Grumpy Cat. I mean, so yeah, that's mine.
I want to say a streamer, but I'm gonna say Boogie2988.
Okay.
He
almost met him.
Well, I've met him once.
Oh yeah.
But he's like someone that is similar to my channel, kind of, but not really. Like he streams and he does video game news. I don't do video game news, but I would want advice and take notes from him.
Cool.
How to grow the channel. Chanel. Boogie2988. He's like the Phil DeFranco of video games. Like he's like the voice of reason. Just like
Kind of like a tempered.
yeah, I don't like his like Francis, like his character.
Yeah.
I think he's done with that, isn't he?
I don't.
He's sort of like Ethan Klein, the H3H3 guy, where he had a shtick, which was the Francis thing, and then he sort of became like a personality.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's go on.
My number 2 would be Donkey.
Ooh.
But I think it'd be so awkward. Like I've seen him do his videos, like live videos of himself. He seems like a very awkward guy. Like he doesn't know how to express certain
I
things.
think that's perfect for our podcast.
I guess so. Weekly DLC. Always awkward. But because I really do feel like if I meet him, it's gonna be a letdown. Like I won't like I'll be like, hey, what's up? And he'll be like, hey, and then like that'll be it. Like there won't be. I won't be like. Won't be. I don't know. I won't be able to ask him anything because he'll just seem like he's not interested. I'll be like, I'm not gonna ask you. I'll probably like. I would do stuff like that. I'd be like, I'd be like, hey, what's up, man? Knack 2 though, you know, like best game of all, and he'll like. Hopefully, he'll go along with it. But
Okay.
it's
I did think of him too, and the big difference. Yeah, I had a similar realization where I was like, his content is like edited, cut up, polished products,
and
so
he seems like a whole different person in his like edited videos.
Yeah.
But then like voice wise, but then I've seen him do like just jokes, like where he's out in public
Yeah.
and he's doing something, and it's really
Doesn't hit.
awkwardly done. Yeah.
My next one would be MKKBHD.
Ooh.
Just because I go like when there's a voice for tech and a general understanding, he's much like what you said of Boogie being similar to Phil. I feel like he's the avatar or the focal point for tech for me, where he gives like a balanced, fair discussion of like Let's look at all the different sides.
Not
of
Casey Neistat Tech Tuesdays.
He even had a title. Casey and I said the worst tech reviewer.
He had something on Twitter where it was like, I may not be the best YouTuber or tech YouTuber, but can I get a D brand like sponsorship or something?
And they're like, no, hit us up. We hit you up in the DM.
But yeah, MKBHD. I feel like I've fallen in tune with a lot of what he values in technology.
Yeah.
And just how his insight is like, where's technology going? Even if you don't like using AirPods or whatever. Like he did one recently where it was about the value of an ecosystem of tech, where he talks about like, why do people stick with an iPhone even there might be a phone with better individual qualities, like a better camera or better software or something, and it's because of the added value of iMessage being in this intrinsic system, or the how it interfaces with the Apple Watch,
the connectivity
and the AirPods,
of all those products.
Yeah, everything together. And Google has that too with its stuff, but just like that ecosystem has value and merit to it.
And that's exactly what's happened in what I've seen, like with my dad. His company he gave him, I think it was an iPhone 6 at the time, and so they were going to upgrade it, and they were like, hey, you can either get the iPhone 7 or Samsung Galaxy S9. And he looked into it and he's like, well, the 9's the newest one. And he asked me, and I'm like, you're going to want to go with the 7 because everything's already connected for you, and you don't have to worry about anything. You literally just put the SIM card in that new card. Everything's done. Like, you don't have to relearn anything. I'm like, look at my phone. Look at it. Like, open it. And he like
look at it like this.
And he was like, he had to figure out how to open it. He had to figure it out. He's like, yeah, this is weird. I'm like, yeah, this is the low, like the one just below that 9. Like
the interfaces and everything.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty much the same. And he's like, oh, I'm like, yeah. He's like, you're gonna want to go with the 7.
Yeah.
And
so I like MKBHD for that. Like, and just what he's been doing. Like, he's shown videos oftentimes of his earliest video, and it's just him with a webcam and stuff reviewing his mouse or his computer, just like things he had.
It's crazy what it's gone from.
And now he's got drawers of phones and like 4K, 8K.
He's got the red, like the $100,000 cameras.
I appreciate that.
My number one is a YouTuber I want to be like. I can't be like because he's just too crazy. But it's not the person I want to be.
I know it is.
No, you don't.
I do.
He's the only non-white guy to have 10 million subs.
I don't know.
This is America.
You thought it was Ninja?
No.
Oh.
I thought it was rhymes with Mary. Dater Muck. It rhymes with Mary Dater Muck.
Oh, Gary Vaynerchuk?
Yeah. You blanked out. You're like,
I was like, I can't think of anything that rhymes with that.
It's not my pick, but KSI is who I want to be. I would like
KSI?
KSI.
Okay.
Who I want to be like, but he's fighting Logan Paul in like this YouTube match.
Oh.
Like he's gonna beat his ass. But
The
person I want to meet is Swoozy. He's a YouTuber that was a pro. He was a pro gamer. Got into YouTube. He just tells stories.
Okay.
And
I only know him through like he worked at Disney.
yeah, he's most famous for his Disney stories. Like it got viral. That's how he got viral. His Disney stories, which is funny. The one time I went to E3, I saw him, and I was too scared to say what's up. He's short. He must be like 5'3", and I was like, damn, I'm too scared to say what's up to him. But that is who I'm picking for my lottery first choice, Swoozy. He's storytelling, he's just a master storyteller about his life, and he has very interesting events that has happened to him. So.
Yes.
My number one, like one-on-one type of stuff, Philip DeFranco. I think he's done really good stuff. And I like to hang out with him and talk to him.
He's the voice of reason for the internet.
And our friend almost killed him. He would have been no more.
And we saw him at Comic-Con.
We were like on like the 4th or 3rd floor, and it was like out in the open, and my friend's like jogging towards us, and he like pushes his he didn't push him on purpose. Like he was just like, it was a closed
Roberto.
And Roberto, yeah. And the guy's like, he like hung over the edge. Like I think he kind of over exaggerated. He's like, whoa. And the guy's like, sorry. I'm like, that's Philip DeFranco.
No fucking way.
I've seen him at every Comic-Con.
Really?
We saw him one time, and I've seen him when I went to Comic-Con inside.
So I think it was at WonderCon. Was it Comic-Con?
Comic-Con.
He
was outside.
That's good.
This is the funniest shit ever.
I almost thought you were gonna pick something else.
Which would have been?
Or no, not you don't watch this one.
Gainer
But
Benny?
I'm surprised. Yeah, two people I'm surprised no one mentioned is Gary Vaynerchuk and Good Mythical Morning.
Oh,
Because I know those two are prominent, but I know we don't really talk about other social circles. I know that talk
just
about
with Rhett and Link. I used to watch their stuff because they came out with one thing every day, one different thing. Now they come out with 5 things every day. And I've not watched a single thing since that happened. Like the very last episode I watched was right before they turned into that. I just haven't watched a single thing since then.
I guess it's my number one. I feel like I have the most value invested in it, or I would get the most out of it. And it's not an individual; it's a channel.
You fucking
The weekly
cheater.
DLC.
Yeah. I want to meet those guys. They're fucking cool.
You fucking cheater.
Especially that Marmalade guy.
This guy. This guy found a loophole in your thing, dude.
We got this, guys.
He found a loophole.
Wait, weekly. He's number one. Weekly. Who is this? What the?
He's
No,
meeting
it's
a
the
whole
guys
group.
that have been inspired by the weekly DLC. Kind of funny.
Oh. Is it?
Yeah, this guy's gonna meet a whole fucking group.
I mean, I'll say Greg Miller, but
Cheater.
But
That's not cheating. It's a channel.
YouTube channel.
Damn cheater.
Kind of funny. I love, I feel like a lot of what I've gotten out of and want to put into this and the vibe and the stuff is from that.
Mm-hmm.
And it came, you get inspired from that. And I love, I don't watch it as dedicatedly as I used to. Just because they have much like Good Mythical Morning.
We haven't talked about them recently. I
I
feel when we
watch them
first started this.
Yeah, boom, boom.
Yeah, we were always talking
because
about
there
it.
was 2 things that they put out every day. Now they put 5 shows out.
You know why we're not as big as them? You're not doing the Spider-Man thing. Take off the shirt.
Episode 69.
I come in a Borat bikini. You're in the Spider.
Stay tuned.
I'll be in a wetsuit.
No, I love their sense of humor that they have an outlet to cut loose. They have an outlet to get critical. They have an outlet everything that they and they started literally in one of their bedrooms or spare rooms that they were renting in.
I think it was
him and Colin.
Yeah, Colin. Okay.
They had a room that's where this same sort of setup was in the other corner, and they had one of their friends doing that, and they had the camera on them half of this table, sweating and just sitting there doing a show. And eventually they worked up to the point where they had a live show. They had they got a studio, which they've been in since, and they've had everyone from Troy Baker to Andy Serkis to doing hosting events, and all it's just gone up. And they've now have a team, and he's gotten married. He's got a crew of people that each of them have segments and does stuff. It's like a company,
no
full-fledged
Colin there.
And he's done his thing. There's definitely been some hard stuff, but I like that. I was I feel like I've seen it, and it can't there is no closer thing that I've seen. I know I've seen there's all these other YouTubers like MKBHDs one day I did do these old things, but I've watched them since they've done that.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy shit, it's happened. How did you make this? How do you live doing this now? How did
one thing I like about Greg Miller, this is one thing with a lot of YouTubers, the same quality that Greg Miller has, he has fucking balls, dude. For him to do some things on Instagram, I'm like, damn, that takes.
You know what it is though?
I
It's
like the
'cause
positivity.
He's personal friends with Hideo Kojima. That's the
Yeah,
only
that's right.
reason why he has
That's
his cojones.
That's right.
No, they had Troy Baker, the voice actor of such acclaimed critical drama games and stuff, and he's sitting there in a conversation with him and 3 other friends talking about gum that tastes like cum for 10 minutes.
Episode 69 ideas. Let's go.
We gotta top that. But I was like, what in the fuck is going on? Next thing I know, I'm watching him talk to the director of God of War about the details and how much this game means to him and the relationship. And I'm like, what?
Wait. I'm gonna sidetrack.
Yeah, this was my final one.
Does God of War have a sex minigame?
No.
Wow.
Oh yeah, now that I think about it.
He talked about it in a podcast.
Yeah, I think about it, yeah.
Wow.
He talks about it in the sense that that was Greek era
It's
sensitive.
Kratos is mad, dude.
Fucking A, man.
Kratos is mad.
You said Greek.
He's that was a young Kratos at a certain point in his life, and that's part of the many qualities of how he behaved. And the one we're getting now is a different he's at a different stage in his life.
He's a Faza.
He doesn't want another H.
He's like, one Atreus is enough. You know what I
Boy.
mean? Boy.
Boy.
A boy. I said boy.
There's another game with two boys, and he just doubles the amount of times he says boy in the game.
Boy.
So, but yeah, that's all? Next topic?
Next topic, which is mine.
'Kay.
Which is
Let's moment of silence.
All right. Anyways, it's about the Vita.
Moment of silence.
So we've have confirmation Sony is gonna stop producing physical cartridge games for the Vita, but they said everything's still available digitally.
Yep.
So I want to know, do you guys think this is like that pivotal moment where you just know for sure it's the end of an era for a mobile system? Or do you think it's they're gonna push hard on digital services?
I don't think they're gonna push anything with the Vita.
It's been dead a long
Like,
time ago.
I feel like they've just been like, if you want, you could do something.
No, they haven't fulfilled everything they said. I still need it to be my rearview mirror, and when I'm playing,
Okay. I mean, you could wipe the dust off of it and like use it as a reflective surface.
I still needed to use it as for when I'm playing Grand Theft
You
Auto.
could play Monster Hunter World on your Vita, technically.
There you go. See,
I realized it was dead when I was trying to use Facebook, and then this app is no longer. This was like 3-4 years ago. This app is no longer. You can no longer use it. They're not updating it,
which is crazy.
I was like, it's dead.
I still like it. Like it's got good quality, and like when I have a good game, like Final Fantasy Tactics, I'm like, this is the screen size, the controls, everything, fucking beautiful.
Watching YouTube videos on it, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I love that on the PSP. Like, and then the Vita, I like, but I was always a digital person with that console. So, but I know that the memory cards were proprietary, which sucked. They just every step of the way it was like,
what if they release the system digitally?
Release the system digitally,
emulated
Well,
in the
we're
PS4
in my
No,
simulation.
we're in a simulation, so it makes sense to me.
It makes sense to another Kurosh. Not
they
to
make
this
it
one.
they make it as a simulator or an emulator in the PS4. So then it's just like
What?
It's a picture of the PS
I don't want to
Vita.
play that.
The
and then
Vita
it's just
Classic. What? I feel like that opens up another question. What games would I put on?
Do you
that?
think they'll make another handheld eventually?
one day?
I think they're done.
Maybe.
I think they're done.
I don't.
I think they're done.
For a company as big as they are, they could, like, if they want, they could do it. I think.
Do you
Did
think
you just
Microsoft?
Thanos us?
Do you think Microsoft?
Thanos.
Thanos?
You made it one word. Thanos.
Do you think Microsoft will ever release a handheld?
No.
No.
I don't see it in the car. The Zune didn't work.
Hey, it's in Guardians.
See,
Yeah, it's true.
I really think Sony's done. I think
Really?
that they tried so hard with the Vita. They've continued
Did
it for
they?
so long. I feel like they could have ended this shit long ago.
The thing is, they just let it live. They didn't like kill it. They just didn't pull the plug.
But I think letting
now
it
they're
live.
just like, all right.
I think letting it live still requires them to do something about it. Like it's not. I don't think it's just like nothing. Like they still have to release physical games for it, or just games in general, brand new games,
Yeah,
which they were.
Guacamelee did well on it, and so did that one game Severed from the creators of Guacamelee. They're like, we want it first on Vita, and then they released it on like iOS and everything, and it worked out for them until like I think Switch. Switch was their biggest success up until then. But yeah, I don't like. It has a place in my heart, but yeah, it's past.
The PSP has a place in my heart.
Yeah,
The Claw has a place in my heart.
I definitely think it's going to be a while before that comes because I feel like they've invested so much into the PS4 family and whatever that will be and evolve into, as well as the VR in relation to that. I feel like those two are their space.
The next VR headset will be a
Detached.
screen. That'll
So I think this is how the timeline works.
Okay.
I think they are ending it. So PS Vita no more. But I think it will be official within the same year that they announce the whole new system that they're making.
The portable system?
No, the
Or
the PS5.
Okay.
Oof.
I mean, that's what I'm going to call it. I don't know.
Yeah,
they're gonna
whatever
call
the
it.
next generation of the
Yeah.
main console. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you meant the next in the portable.
Yeah, because they're going to cut the ties from Sony or PlayStation in general with this new system. So I don't even think it'll be the PlayStation 5. I think it's going to be Sony I'm trying to think of like a
Omega.
good systems name. Yeah, like Omega or Sony
Alpha.
Legend or something.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't think they're gonna name it PS5. I think they're gonna try to go a whole different route. That way, there's no connection from the PS Vita, and people can't be like, "Well, I'm trying to connect my PS Vita to PS5," and
Well, it's yeah, I guess, yeah,
you never know. There could still be people that have a Vita
Yeah.
and they're trying to connect it for some reason.
it's true. I wonder if we get something portable, I think they might go in the mobile space
Mhm.
with phones and maybe have like a Sony phone or some experience that allows them to.
They had an experience, Xperia,
Yeah,
and that failed.
it takes a few failures before you get it right.
It
Wii U.
does. It does. But I think there, at least for a company, not for an individual, but for a company, there's so many times that you can, get up and down and back up again.
They're doing pretty okay after the few failures.
They are for
Like,
overall they are.
Yeah.
But like I feel like you can't be trying to do something that's no longer working. Like they had the PSP, which did fantastic. Then they came out with the PS Go, which
That was like
miserably.
yeah.
It was supposed to be like an addition to the PSP, but it did really bad. It was a digital version, like all digital.
Yeah.
And then there was the PS Vita, and I immediately bought into it.
Yeah.
Needed money, sold it, and then I was like, once I have enough money, I'm buying that thing again. Bought it again, and I've not even touched that thing since.
I've played a good amount with it. It was more like what games they put on it, and it's what Nintendo has done that Vita didn't, which was first party.
I knew it wasn't a dime when I backed a game called
Mighty Number 9.
Lunar. Forgot the name of it. It's still not released. The game. It's been over 4 years since I backed this thing.
I backed something on there for Bloodstained, and it was for Vita. Now I've moved it to Switch.
Yeah. So during I originally I backed it and was like, give me the PS Vita version. I was like, I'm gonna try to save the PS Vita for myself by playing this game on it. And then literally they sent an email like, this is the last time that you can make changes to your rewards.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent them an email. I'm like, give me the 3DS version. And they're like, done. And I was like, done. And I've not regretted that decision. But that game has not gone out yet. And they reached a milestone where they were like, we'll get it out for the PS4 eventually. So I'm probably just going to rebuy it on the PS4 at this point. Or hopefully they're like, it's been so long. Here's the 3DS and the PS Vita and the PS4.
I mean, if you look at I look at it in the same vein I look at the Wii U. They had ideas there that they didn't, I feel like, fully develop, or they tried a few things that didn't work, but they had a good core idea. I think the Vita is similar in that it has a good core idea. It has a few things that just don't work. The proprietary memory card, the back touch, I thought was pointless. The look, the screen size, the feel of it,
was
good.
really good.
Maybe like another analog stick.
Yeah.
More R triggers, like little things like that, and then support from now, like their dearth of like first party stuff. But then they have a problem, I think, at that point, and I don't think they want, like, interest is not there for them to go this route where Nintendo consolidated their resources. Like, we have our 3DS team and we have our main console team, and they're all now working cohesively. I don't think with the level of scale and quality that the PS4 games and potentially PS5 or alpha games will be, I don't think they want to take resources away from those to make whatever these other experiences are. Right. Unless there's like an absolute reason, and I don't think that they've seen that reason justify it yet.
You know what could have saved it? One game. Monster Hunter World. They just released it exclusively on a Vita. I mean, even in just Japan sales, it would have saved it.
Exclusive? I think it would have helped.
Saved it.
I think it would have been the best seller on the Vita.
Yeah.
Or Vita's best seller ever, but I don't think it would have sold the numbers it did for Capcom.
Yeah.
That's why. Because if you look just some games are meant to push consoles, and some games are meant to be like, you have this console, you might as well just get it on this system. And there's like 60 million systems. And I feel like that the PS4 had that edge over like Xbox Monster Hunter owners, and that helped like broaden that. I don't know how the one thing I've never done with the Vita that I would be contingent upon like how well the world experience would be on there is its online connectivity. I never really played a game like online on my Vita. That would be probably the biggest factor. But I would love to. Like that would have been fucking awesome. But I mean, you got your Switch now. You can play
Which
Generations Ultimate.
Collects dust.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, almost went to Breath of the Wild. Almost.
Anyways, I think it's dead.
Moment of silence.
E3 they announced.
My place in my heart. I mean,
A place in my
two
hands.
PSXs ago, Geo came out. And he was just like, "This game is also coming out on the Vita." Like, it's not that long ago that it's like, it's been out for over 5 years,
And it's been dead for 4 years. Yeah.
Fucking cold.
Mama.
Marmalade.
That's how I got my
Never
name.
forget. All right,
Move on to the last topic.
last topic. This sort of kind of switched in, literally last minute.
The Switch.
Yeah, you just Thanos does, bro.
You didn't say it as one word.
That
Thanos.
should have been a Nintendo Switch commercial, Thanos.
Fortnite coming to Switch. We're kind of talking about. I mentioned briefly, I think God of War, and then we were talking about a few other things, and we got on the topic of storytelling and the quality of it in games versus books or movies and comics and
TV.
and Jane, you got impassioned by it, and I was like, this just feels like a natural discussion. Why are we not recording? So I was like,
a PS Vita?
PS Vita, best storytelling medium. So I kind of just want to talk about your guys' thoughts of storytelling quality across mediums and where you see the best, the worst, the up and coming, general thoughts, whatever you want to talk about. Gillette.
The best the man can get. Do you ever see Dr. Disrespect?
Yeah.
He sings. Okay.
So, I mean, what do you guys-
So the reason we got in this topic is because Jang was like, video games don't have good storytelling.
Most.
Regardless,
It's not an absolute.
regardless,
Most video
you're
games.
saying like a good
Per
portion
capita?
of games.
You're right.
Yeah, and I think you're. I don't know.
Incorrect.
All the mediums, it is the weakest. I think. Okay, this is how I rank
You
it.
originally
TV.
thought comic books were the worst.
Yeah, back in the day.
Let's backtrack.
Yeah, back in the day, I thought
How did you
TV
read comic
is
books?
number one right now. TV is gold. Movies is second, tied with books. I think they're
Movies and books.
Yeah, I think damn books might be better, dude.
Can you take out that bookmark and show it to?
You
Jane?
sure you're gonna lose your
Woo.
spot?
I'll remember.
I don't think so.
He didn't
man.
get too far,
It's-
so it's okay.
I don't think so. You're gonna
I
have to
need to
reread
reread it.
all of this.
Just give it to Jake.
In case people are wondering,
I knew this topic was coming up.
it
judge a
says
book.
never judge a book by its movie.
Ready Player One.
Boom. That's what I've been saying. That's what I've been saying. No, I think movies is higher than books. I think like in like the spatial universe of where we're at, we've noticed books more often. But I think overall they still aren't doing fantastic compared to movies.
The reason why I put books over than movies because I think the way I imagine things in books come out a lot better.
It does, but the thing is, I don't feel like enough people are reading the books for that to like really push books to do better than movies. Movies are still better than books, I think.
I'm gonna say books are like at the ceiling.
You're totally wrong. When it comes to sales, though, I think video games are number one. When it comes to medium, video games is at the top. Books is second.
No, but sales. You're getting games of
No,
sales of
but
ga-
I'm just putting a point where
Yeah.
he said that more people watch movies than books, but books are
Medium wise, books are second.
video
Games
games
is
number
first.
one. Is number one.
But books have been sold longer than any of these other ones. So like if you look at like lifetime ever.
Well, I'm not talking about Lifetime. I think there was a
What-
year.
No, I'm saying in
worth
terms
of-
of like. Okay,
Lifetime.
I feel like before anything, like since existence, books have been around the longest. So
Right.
they have like the most experience.
like
Like
the
if
beginning
it,
of time. Okay.
since the beginning of time, there's been
Mhm.
written text. I mean, comics. You could technically
Actually,
say
since
comics have been around longer.
Since the beginning of the simulation, we've had books.
Fuck. Simulations are the best storytelling medium of all time. Let me just say that right now. Huge market.
Huge.
Feel like the novels and books in that sense, I
Mhm.
feel like that's got the most experience.
Right.
Movies and television, I feel like
Much
in
newer.
terms of experience tied. Their TV has risen to higher quality recently,
Mhm.
more recently than movies have.
Right.
Comics, That's a hard one for me because I feel like they've been the most erratic. I wouldn't say they're the best, the highest quality. The medium is right for potential, and I don't think everyone taps into that. And the money to invest, I think a lot of it boils down to the money invested.
Mhm.
And if there's not a lot of money invested
Right.
in the medium,
Right.
then it doesn't afford the
quality.
the opportunities to be like, I want to try something.
Right.
And that's when people get weird and freaky.
I think that's why a lot of like writers like to go towards books and movies. I mean, movies and TV shows because that's where the money is. Like they get paid.
But the difficulty to get something made is high.
Right.
Like for movies, TV, it's
Right.
just become like you can now have a TV show on YouTube.
Right.
So that barrier of entry is much easier,
Mhm.
and hopefully that's going to lead to even more. Like I think Robert Downey Jr. is going to do some TV show on YouTube Red now. Like
Mhm.
that barrier, and Casey Neistat tells stories on YouTube all the time. Like,
Mhm.
and is that a new medium? Like, would you like we mentioned TV and movies?
Damn, I think YouTube stories are way better.
I think YouTube is a newer medium, and it's funny that you bring up Casey Neistat because he was a movie producer,
Mhm.
and he gave that life up to pursue YouTube.
Mhm.
Right.
He felt that this medium
The barrier.
was fresh and that it would become a whole different beast in the future. And I still think he's right. I still think that there's still potential with this platform. It's just having a lot of hiccups right now.
It's hard for me to describe like what YouTube would be in all this. Just for the sake of like what we've already established, books, movies, comics, TV, games. Instead of adding YouTube, I would put YouTube
As a subset of TV.
or movies, depending on how they
Yeah.
use it. Like it's just a platform for which they create episodic
'Cause
content,
there's-
or they create.
There's
single-
channels that do make they've,
So like a movie to me is like a single piece of story. Like
Yeah.
this is starts, ends, concludes. I feel like a TV show is episodic, as far as
Mhm.
how we understand.
like Video Game High School.
yeah,
That was episodic.
but like games, I feel like there's been game. I don't know, it's hard. Like
It's
I
like
wouldn't say
immersive.
it does something that none of these others do. In
Mhm.
that it's engaged. You're
Right.
an active participant.
interaction.
Like you could either be living through, much like a novel where it's like you're
Right.
going through the first person, but no other medium could be like you have agency.
Especially if you're playing a horror game.
Yeah. But like
Dude,
if it's a game like you mentioned
better
Breath of the
version.
Wild,
Right.
I don't look at Breath of the Wild's story about Link's story. I look at it as my story.
Mhm.
What I did in this in Hyrule. I look
Mhm.
at it like that's how I see it, and I don't think like I can do that in a book. I can't be like I read chapter 8 and then chapter 3 and then I read chapter 2 upside down.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't work.
Like I read the ending before I went through back.
with like a game like Breath of the Wild or what's it called, Skyrim. Your story is very much the spark that keeps you kind of like continuing and going back. Like my game is me, or Monster Hunter even. Like you could be like this is how my journey has been.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also narrative experiences like Last of Us, like Uncharted, like God of War, like Journey. I mean, that's a very much those things. Like I have never seen in any other. So I have merit in there, but I see your point in that there's fewer of those than there are of like Citizen Kanes and Godfathers but it's.
I do think that telling a story in that platform is a lot more difficult because there's a balance that you have to do. There's a balance of what the player plays, what the story does, timing and everything. Like you don't want to have like too much like cutscene wise and all this stuff going on.
Yeah, some. I don't mean to cut you off, but you mentioned the cutscene stuff. I think of Kojima. I think of his games, and they're almost like full-on movies. So
Yeah.
they skate that line of. Anyway, wanted to go back.
Yeah, and then there's games that don't that cut a lot of that out, but the story is just it's so long that it seems very tedious, very boring. And a game like that would be like Grand Theft Auto 5. It's just a very long story that's being.
You're talking
told.
about the campaign of it.
The campaign,
Okay.
yeah. Like it's just there's so much going on. Like that's story wise. It's like I feel like that's one of the longest games that you could play when it comes to any type of game. Because like with God of War, it's like 30 hours.
Yeah.
Like
But like, look at your like. I look at Destiny
Mhm.
as another example of agency where I'm like, my legend. I went through these moments, and it was like moments where we shared, or I shared with like strangers or whoever, and I'm like, fuck, like that was like these were moments, and like it kind of like penetrates that barrier of like this medium coming out and being what I experienced and stuff. So comics though, like I'm trying to put a place for that because there's.
I just think the independent stuff is good, and the mainstream stuff is just you just get burned. Like, oh,
But it's so
they killed Spider-Man.
It's so convoluted, but it's the same thing with movies.
Oh my god! You're 100% right on the convoluted. I tried getting more Thor comics. Let me tell you, and this is from a seasoned comic reader, how difficult it was for me to understand this shop owner's like order of reading.
Yeah,
I was like, all right, this is Thor 1 through 12.
Mm-hmm.
I want to keep reading this after this volume. How do I do that? He's like, well, there's another collected volume of 13 through 24. But that collection is partially Mighty Thor, which is the same writer, the same team, so it's the same story. So I'm like, wait, what about this other volume here? That's volume 1 through 1, 2, 3, and 4. He's like, that's Mighty Thor. He's like, but that's part of volume 2 of Thor. I'm like, wait, but if you look at the back of Thor, it says what issues, and it says Thor 1 through, not Mighty Thor. They're two different titles. He's like, yeah, but they kind of like merge them. And I'm like, I'm getting confused. What am I getting with volume 2, and what am I getting here, and like where do they and like
just give a stack, put these in order.
And he just like shoves them into each.
So this one starts on page.
And that's like the easiest version of it. I was like, after like 15 minutes, I was like, I get it now. Thank you. There's times where it's like, what? Like this comic from this series, and then this like issue 14 of Batman. And then the next story issue is issue 16 of Batman Detective. And then issue 14 of Birds of Prey and issue 1 of Nightwing makes one collective story. I'm like, what?
And I know,
like, how is that accessible?
I know originally it started like, let's say it's a story about Superman. Like it starts from beginning to end. But within that, a new hero comes out, is introduced just for like maybe like two issues or something like that. So let's say like... Mole Man comes out in this movie. So then this is where his first appearance is, and then he gained traction or interest, and they created a whole comic book series out of him. So now we have the comic, the Mole Man
That's like
series.
one of the more straightforward.
Yeah, so then you're gonna be like, technically he comes out here, but his comic book is it starts from beginning to end, and the rest. But then now it's gotten to where like
when there's events and crossovers, like imagine an Avengers movie for like every little thing.
Yeah,
like there's Avengers, there's Defenders, but Defenders is impacted by Avengers. How does that happen? And like 18 other events,
and it's
happening.
almost
You're
like a brainstorm thing where it's like all these are connected, and the events start here, and then it goes off to its own thing.
The one thing I will say that comics have, I think, that these others have lost or don't have.
I think I know what I'm gonna.
Is like Superman's been a character for however many fucking years now? Because it's like modern mythology.
He doesn't die. He doesn't age.
And so all of these little minuscule stories that don't really matter culminate in like the legend of Superman.
Right.
And that blows my mind. I'm like, no movie does that. No show does that. Books maybe get close. Like, I feel like that's more about the author than anything. But a singular characters, it's like this constants that exist and evolve or that return back to what they were. And I think of like the Norse mythology, and I'm like, this is the legend of Superman. Or this is the legend of Batman.
What if Hideo does this? He brings Snake back in Death Stranding.
Get back to me in like 60 years when they're continuing, yeah. Norman Reedus's character. But yeah, did you have any other?
The one gripe I have about comic books is retcon. Like when I was
retcon.
When I was collecting comic books, the death of Wolverine was big, and I'm like, people were buying into it. I'm like, you guys. Like
he's gonna come.
He's
back.
coming.
Yeah.
He's coming back. Dude.
Nothing is sacred.
It's just
but that's like once you get past like when you're used to other mediums tropes of like death is final.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like comics or games. I mean, each medium has its unique qualities. Like a comic doesn't find that as final. A comic is like that's just something that happened. They'll be back. A video game will be like you died. Hit save or hit load, you go back to the checkpoint. That's part of the game. Nier Automata kind of plays with a lot of that, and it gets meta with that. there's some comics that get meta with a lot of Grant Morrison stuff.
Damn,
Or
I was
like
gonna say a game, but it's a spoiler because you never played it.
what game?
If by saying it, it's a spoiler because of
Oh.
what we're talking about, right?
Okay, I'll say it. BioShock becomes meta.
Okay.
Super meta.
I still mean to play that, and I've heard the story is really interesting. But what was I saying? Your Automata, Animal Man. I don't know if you've ever read that by Grant Morrison. That gets meta where
The character
Beast
comes to
Boy?
life.
yeah, the character. No, it's a guy who can talk to animals, not become animals. But one of the parts that happens is he's talking through his story, and all of a sudden he turns to out of the book, and he's looking at you, and he's like, "What's going?" Like he says something to you, the reader, and you're like, "Whoa!" Like this is, and those are things that I'm like, you can't do this in other mediums, and so it's for those interesting experiences that I'm like, I appreciate them, and they have a value in and of itself.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any thoughts on like what you hope out of each one of these, like going forward? We kind of talked about like their present, their past.
I mean, with comic books, I still feel like there's ways to completely turn like the concepts of what these things do on its head. Like, you know, just make it think like, holy shit, you could still do stuff like this. When it comes to like breaking the fourth wall in comic books, that's something that can be done in movies. I think it has been done, but it's not been done as effectively as the way comic books have done it already. When it comes to how smooth sometimes like a movie can have its storytelling, how nice it all melds together, kind of like how, I mean, comic books have done this, but I felt like Avengers did a really good job melding every single story into this one movie called Infinity War.
So that I was going to touch on this too, and I want to see what you guys think. I feel like you're getting elements like, yeah, comics and games are trying to emulate movies often, but two mediums that have become more and more alike or crossing over is like TVs feel more cinematic and movies feel more episodic. And those are qualities that are taken from each other and evolving. And that's been interesting watching happen. Like you mentioned with Avengers, it's like
That's episodic.
This is episodic. Yeah. So you're like watching a season of a show, but in a movie format.
It's just like what we're talking about, like with like it's almost like a brainstorm type thing where everything leads up to different moments, and literally like we've seen every moment and it leads up to this. Like we didn't read a story where it got to this point and then we have to read out. No, we read into this moment by watching these movies.
And when you see that fusion of like comic tropes and TV tropes, and then in the movie experience, it's like evolving into something new.
Exactly.
And I'm like, I'm getting mixed signals because part of me is like, okay, this is a movie. It's final. It's got a conclusion. But because of my experience with comics and TV, there's going to be a continuation. So am I led to believe that wasn't final? What is like with
and this what we're seeing now is still very rare. This is like what we're seeing with Marvel doing with movies. It's still very rare because we're not going to get like not every day we get a whole series of movies
sure
that match up to something.
But there's other things too. It's like there's your movie, like I know Doom did this and Hardcore Henry did this, where they try to emulate a video game and be first person.
Yeah.
And how those translate. Do they work? Do they not work?
I've never watched Hardcore Henry though.
I still need to. I want to.
But it seems like that one did better job emulating it than Doom did.
But then there's movies where it's like not necessarily video game adaptations, but video games that emulate, or movies that emulate video games. Like Wreck-It Ralph is very video game like, or I would argue that King Arthur, the new one, was very video game like.
The Raid, very video game like.
Yeah, Dread. And so you see qualities go between the mediums, and they like kind of add to each other.
Yeah. So I think we're still with how long all this has already been going on. I think certain concepts are still super fresh, super new, and it'll get better. I think.
You have any thoughts?
I just want more things to be unpredictable.
Yeah.
Like, cause I can whenever I watch something or play something, I'm like, this is gonna happen. This is gonna happen. This is gonna happen. This is gonna happen, and it happens. It's like fuck. But want more unpredictable. So I'm reading November 22nd, 1963. It hasn't been a while since I've watched or played or
said
read something where I went, oh fuck! Like he goes back in time to stop something and it doesn't go as planned. I was like, whole, because I'm thinking, oh shit, he knows the fucking future. He knows how to prevent this, and it fucks up, and it's just like, holy shit.
But this is the thing with books that gets me. Like, when you get a situation like that, my thought would be like, all right, this is a story. There's going to be some conflict or challenge. So I'm expecting something to happen. Like, same with like Back to the Future. Like, oh, if they just go back, do this, it'll be over in 5 minutes. Like, but something happens and that doesn't. And because of my prior knowledge with the medium of like, this is how a movie or a book goes, that's how it'll be. Does that ever get in the way of your reading or movie watching?
I guess.
Like knowing that there's 500 pages and you're like, I'm 20 pages in.
It doesn't get in the way, but I always like, when I read something, I'm like, think about ways of making it better. Yeah. That's why. Like when I see something or play something, like, I would have done this to make it better.
Another question I have for you guys is your familiarity. Like you're saying, like if you're playing a video game, you know how it's going to go. You're watching a movie, you know how it's going to go. Do you think it's also because of what you've exposed yourself to in those mediums? Like you watch the only the big releases, or you play only the most popular games. So you're exposing yourself to the most common things instead of like saying I only play like Inside, Braid, like these like off the wall weird indies. Like I feel like that's where, for video games at least, that's where the weird shit happens. You mentioned with comics, the interesting stuff happens in the indies, not in the main stuff. Do you ever apply that with other mediums?
Yes.
Like what would be an example?
I don't know, like movies, TV shows.
Well, you said with movies, you only watch the ones that are like 90% higher. So there's like a dearth of like people going and be like, this is good, versus like going and seeing something that no one's seen. That's like weird or different. Like you have no basis of like, I don't know what to expect going into this. You know what I mean?
More like movies, but I don't watch a lot of movies.
Well, so you were talking about how if you immerse yourself so much in certain mediums that you kind of start being able to tell what will happen, kind of thing.
Well, like you watch the things that there's like a.
No, well, I'm agreeing with you. Like I think that it's true, and I think with movies and video games, I have that going on where like usually like you know how most games go, and you're like, this is gonna happen, and it might not be exactly how you said it, but it's something similar in that direction. You're like, I mean, I kind of pretty much gathered that was gonna happen. I don't have that experience with comic books. I don't read comic books very much, so you know how when like retcon stuff happens, I'm not used to that because I just don't read them. So there could be small things that you guys have already been used to, and you're like numb to like these really. It could be just a really cool thing, but you're like, I mean, that's usually happened in most comic books. So with me reading a fresh new thing, I could probably read them and be like, this is so cool. And I'll bring it up to you guys, always bring it up and be like, guys, did you notice? And you're like, yeah, that kind of happens every time. And I'll be like, oh, you know, and then start reading other books and like, it does happen every time, kind of thing. So I think like for me, it can still happen with comic books because I could read them and see these small things and be like, this is so cool. And then, you know, as more I read, I'll be like, this is the kind of just stuff that apparently happens all the time.
Is that the medium you'd want to experiment more in?
Yeah, I like. Same thing with books. Like, I just want more time to read things. I don't offer myself time to do this stuff. I'm always like,
not just exploring the medium, but trying the off the beaten path experiences in the medium. That's what I'm trying to get. Do you know what I mean?
I will watch a movie that has a high Metacritic and a very low, like a mixed, because I want to see like why is it so divisive? Like
there's movies like Book of
Eli?
No, not
Moonlight.
It was Brad Pitt, and it was really weird.
12 Monkeys?
No, it was like the Book of Life or the Tree of Life. The Tree of Life. Oh, the movie started. It was just like cells, and then a volcano for 15 minutes. And then a waterfall, and then a scene of just like Brad Pitt and Kate Blanchett and two kids, and then it cut to a rhino, and then it was like a full featured movie. And I was like, I looked at the theater, I'm like,
are we in the wrong theater?
Half the theater left.
Oh shit!
And it was at the UCI theater, artsy sort of movie, and I was like, this is different, and I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't ready for this sort of crazy sort of movie, but that was an experience that I would classify as like off the beaten path. Like art. I'm not like, oh, they're clearly going to have a happy ending. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck's going on at the beginning of the movie.
Ends with dinosaurs.
So I don't know what's going on and what beat it's going to have. Is there a medium you'd want to try the weird shit in. That's the easiest way.
You should read Alan Moore's Swamp Thing. That is fucking.
I think
weird.
though what you're talking about off the beaten path, it's more. You get a better reward for yourself if it's in a medium that you're already used to. If something like that happens, obviously in a video game.
What medium would you want to try weird shit in?
I would do movies. Like that's something I enjoy all the time. So for me, like if like you're saying, like I've watched movies, I kind of know how movies go. So if I were to sit down and watch Your Life, all of a sudden like this is a documentary, but like obviously they didn't. It's not just that.
Okay.
It's something.
So you would
more.
try it in something more familiar, like a medium.
I think that's where if you get it more rewarding. If I
Okay.
if I see that in something I'm not used to, if I read a comic book, brand new beaten path, I'll be like, this is so cool, but. I don't have anything reference to it, so I just think that that's how everything is now at this point. You know,
I want more weird stuff in video games.
Yeah,
I feel like a lot of video games just follow it. A lot of indie stuff is weird, which is good,
but
fresh.
You'd want more like,
inside.
Yeah.
I'd probably say video games. Like after experiences like Inside, Journey, and Nier Automata, like those three are the most prominent recent ones that I've like. This kind of like messed with how I think of video games or jarred it in a big way. Comics I've had a good amount of. TV and movies are good. I feel like it's a time investment with TV and movies. I will when I can. It's like I would say the movies is second.
I think that's funny because everything we're talking about is a time investment. It's just
like
less
it's
time
a singular.
per.
Like there's a singular, but whereas a TV show, there's like, oh, try One Piece. It's 800 episodes. It's different though. I'm like, that's a big time sink. Like I don't have the energy for that. Where a game, moderate, movies like 2-3 hours.
Yeah.
But you experience whatever.
Book is long.
Yeah, books. I mean, that's another field where I feel like I'm not familiar enough as a whole in like the interesting stuff to be able to have like a like I think you put it well. Like you have to have a solid grounding in something to understand what is weird.
Exactly.
You have to read House of Leaves. I haven't read it.
I have it.
It's fucking weird.
There's a book like it.
You had to read a book like like typing is all fucked up, and you had to read it in different ways. And
interesting.
You had to make an origami page. No, you had to rip out a page, make origami, and read it.
Have you ever read Goosebumps though? Goosebumps, you get to pick like what page you go. Fucking like blew my mind. Grant Morrison of the time, R.L. Stein.
R.L. Stein.
Yeah. All right, that's a good switch of the topics right there. Where can the people find you guys?
They can find me at the Fulio365 on Instagram.
You can find me at Twisted, no, Tilted Towers. At the Last Bosses.
You can find me at Cujo Prime. You can find us all at the Weekly DLC. Please let us know what you think of some of the stuff we talked about today. We kind of went all over the board. What do you think of God of War? What you think of these mediums and what we talked about storytelling?
How do you think? How good do you think?
What page am I on anymore?
Well, I found it. It was, it's creased, cool. We got it.
Awesome. What game Jang should play next? What should we be talking about on episode 69? We've got a few suggestions. It's gonna get a little dirty. But do you guys have your shake weights yet?
Monster Hunter dirty.
Because I want shake weights everywhere in this room when we
gotta have 2, 4, 6 of them. Just double hands, and the whole time that we're.
Yeah, it's gonna get wild. It's gonna be an experience. We're gonna mess with the
Spider-Man
storytelling.
We need to borrow your mask key.
Yeah. Until next time, we will
DLC
you later.
Where's the remote?